Okay. We're about ready?
Jesus is
Hi,
not
how you
here.
doing? Hi, Mr. Ball. How you
No, he
doing?
always comes
Hi,
to me.
thanks.
We'll catch him on the
You
replay.
feeling better?
Much. Like, in the last day or two, I finally
You
got
and
back all my energy.
you and Harold, y'all are sitting by each other, so don't get in any trouble or anything.
We just had lunch together.
Oh, you did? Okay.
All right. You have to open that to get the other one. No. Oh, there we go.
Yeah. Notice everybody's dressed.
Do you think I'm not dressed up enough?
You are. You're fine. We're not talking about you,
Oh, okay.
about your buddy.
Tina?
I wanted to get this jacket was too casual, but it was okay.
Sorry. No, I'm talking about you not
So I'm
speaking
going
like
with
me.
Chase Fashion Sense.
Yeah, you see that? He says she's like that. Okay, I'm about ready.
Let's get started.
Well, he'll be, he's always a couple of minutes late, getting up the freeway. So, as soon as you said, I'll be ready to go. Are we videotaping? We are, right?
We're live streaming,
Yeah.
I think. Where did Chris go? Where?
Chris is over here.
Your microphone's on.
Are we ready?
Yeah, he thinks so.
Where's Jesus?
Okay, let him double check to make sure that we'll kick it off.
So did you have a good birthday?
Yeah. Heard from all the kids.
We'll start in just a minute. We're making sure that.
I'm gonna make sure he's.
Chris, ready? You ready to go? Oh, I thought you would check. Okay, good. Good evening, everyone. And welcome to the Moreno Valley Unified School District Special Study Session of the Board of Education. These proceedings are being audio taped pursuant to Government Code Section 54953.5 and broadcast on Channel 16. Special meeting public comments at a special meeting of the Board of Education shall be limited to only those items posted on the agenda. All requests to address the Board of Education on agenda items must be submitted prior to the beginning of the meeting. So, Diane, do we have anything? Oh, we don't. Okay, good. So, we're going to move right on. Okay. We are being live streamed. This is 2017, so we're not, it's not the old stuff. So thank you for reminding me. Young man in the red, I thought sure you would give me a smile, give me a nod, and let me know. Gee whiz, you know the difference. Okay, so the meeting is called to order at 5:05 p.m. Could I please get a roll call?
Evan Morgan present.
Susan Smith, present.
Gary Baugh present.
C.J. Johnson present.
Martin Rex Kedzior present.
Robert Verdi present.
Tina Dagnall present.
Maribel Maddox present.
And Mr. Jesus O'Gean is on his way, carting traffic from San Bernardino. Public comments on agenda items. Again, we don't have any. So we'll move right into item C, special session. Mrs. Maddox, who's our Chief Academic Officer and the Educational Services team, will be providing PowerPoint presentations on one of our favorite things here at Moreno Valley Unified, student achievements. Maribel?
So, Mr. Johnson, thank you for introducing this topic tonight. Mrs. Maddox is going to walk to the podium right now, and I'm going to talk just for a few minutes. Is that all
good.
right?
Very good, yeah.
Okay. I want to thank all the people that are here tonight, especially the families and the students that are here. Mrs. Maddox and her team have assembled a number of people to come speak on different topics tonight. And I want the students to know that we especially want to hear your voice, and make sure when you're up here talking that you just take your time, because what you say as the students matters more than anything. So we're very proud that you're here tonight. So thank you, families and different people that helped bring people here tonight. And I want to thank, before we begin, Mrs. Maddox, who's our Chief Academic Officer, and her team for what they are going to share with you this evening, because this is a celebration as well as an awareness of where we are as a district, and we're very proud of what's happened. Patty, you can go to the next slide, please. I wanted the board to know when I became the superintendent, one of the things I was asked was, how do we have excellence on purpose? What does that mean? How do we continue that? So these 11 commitments are things that we continue to talk about in our district, and they're characteristics that we want to build in our community, but also our school district. And tonight, there's 11 of them up there, and one of them is are personally and collectively responsible for our actions, and it should say and outcomes. So one of the things you'll hear tonight is the personal responsibility and the collective responsibility for our actions and outcomes, and that's very important. We always start with the why, and so we're here tonight because we have a responsibility to our community and to the families that we serve to let them know how important student achievement is in our district, and how we value that. So I just wanted to share that with you. And then the second piece there is every school has this in our district, but this is our district focus. And one of the things that people ask is, what is our focus? And we have 3 goals up there, and there are 13 outcomes. And you have that in your packet, each board member. And this focuses on student achievement, high school graduation rates, and student attendance, and suspensions and expulsions. So tonight, as you go through, as you hear this presentation, I hope you'll keep that out, and you will see that we are focused on improving these outcomes in our district. So, Mrs. Maddox, I want to thank you, and please proceed.
Thank you and good evening. I'd like to also thank the board and everyone that's here tonight. This is a team effort. We need a team to bring up student achievement. We all have a role in it, so you're going to hear tonight from district, site staff, and most importantly from our students. We all have a role in not only celebrating but meeting our challenges. Also, I do want to announce that all the CASP data that you're going to see is preliminary. It will be officially released by CDE on Thursday. And so I wanted to make sure and state that from the beginning, that this is preliminary CASP data. So let's start with our celebrations. Let's get to know our district by numbers. So this is Moreno Valley Unified School District by numbers. 62 points. School that had the most growth in ELA and math at 3rd grade, Ridgecrest Elementary. School that had the most growth in ELA and math at 4th grade, 47 points, Moreno Elementary. School that had the most growth in ELA and math in 5th grade, 39 points, Hidden Springs Elementary. Schools that had the most growth in ELA and math at 6th grade, plus 6 points, Landmark Middle School and Badger Springs Middle School. The same for 7th grade, 8-point growth, Badger Springs Middle School. We'll now go to 8th grade with 9 points, Palm Middle School. School that had the most growth in ELA and math in 11th grade with 7 points, Valley View High School. 3, the number of schools that had double-digit growth in percentage of students that met or exceeded school-wide, Bear Valley Elementary, Hidden Springs, and Ridgecrest. 691. The number of exams that were passed in the 2017 AP Test Administration. And you can tell the number at all of our high schools, which totaled 691.
What was it before?
You know what, I will try to get you that information as I go on and report that. 11, the number of schools that had double-digit growth in third grade math or ELA. There are the schools, it tells you the points, and also the subject area. 217, the first year Moreno Valley Unified School District was not found to be disproportionate with African American students in suspensions or expulsions. 25, the number of schools that met the district attendance rate goal of 95%. 3, the number of schools designated as schools to watch, Landmark, Sunnymead, and Vista Heights Middle Schools. 9, the number of schools that had double-digit growth in fourth grade math and ELA. 283, the number of students that might not have graduated if not for these alternative ed programs: Alessandro, Moreno Valley Online Academy, March Mountain, Bayside, and adult education. 1, the school with 51% AP passing rate in advanced placement calculus at Vista del Lago High School. 33, the number of schools awarded PBIS medals, positive behavior intervention and supports. 33 of our schools designated by the different gold, silver, or bronze, with Hidden Springs and Towngate receiving gold medals for implementation. 2, the number of schools that had double-digit growth in fifth grade math or ELA, Hidden Springs and Chaparral Hills. 20, the number of schools that met the district map goal of 50%. 0, the number of federal program findings for English learners. They were compliant. 1,584. The number of students that received intervention support after school tutoring in collaboration with Think Together. 8,668. The number of times teachers attended professional development offerings at the PDC during the 2016-17 school year. 2, the number of schools with a 50% or higher pass rate in 7 advanced placement subject exams. That's for Canyon Springs and Valley View. 75, highest number of students qualified for Seal of Multiliteracy in the County of Riverside in 2017, and you have it by schools. 33,196, the number of lucky students served by all of you in our district. As we look at this data, it's important to recognize that it's about students. All these numbers, there are students behind them. So at this time, we're going to hear from 4 of our students. There are in different parts of their educational journey. We're going to be hearing first from Tayden Hill. He's a fourth grader from Armada who has participated in our DLI, Dual Language Immersion program. I'd like to thank his principal, Mr. Mario Perez, for being here also. Tayden, you have the mic.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi, my name is Tayden Hill. I am 9 years old. I am in 4th grade and I go to Armada Elementary School. My 4th grade teachers are Miss Zamora and Miss Aviles. This is my 5th year in Dual Language Immersion program. I live with my mom, my brother, my 2 cousins, and my grandmother. My family does not speak Spanish. I was the first person to learn Spanish in my family. Dual Language Immersion program is useful because when I get a job, I could get more money and help more people. I am glad that I'm in this program and that the teachers help a lot. I am also glad that my mom put me into this program. Now I'll say it in Spanish. Hola, mi nombre es Tayden Hill. Tengo 9 años. Estoy en 4 grado en la escuela primaria de Armada. Este año mis maestras son la señora Zamora y la señora Avilés. Este es mi 5º año en la clase de doble inmersión. Yo vivo con mi mamá, mi hermano, mis 2 primas y mi abuela. Mi familia no sabe español. Yo soy la primera persona a aprender español en mi familia. El programa de doble inmersión es muy bueno para mí porque cuando yo tengo más años, yo puedo hacer más dinero y ayudar más personas. Yo me siento muy feliz de estar en este programa y las maestras ayudan mucho. También yo estoy feliz que mi mamá se puso en el programa de doble inmersión.
Thank you, Tayden. That was really inspirational. Thank you. Tayden, gracias. Estuvo muy importante y estuvo muy bueno todo como hablas. Gracias. Oh.
Thank you. We could take a quick questions around or comments. Anybody on the board have anything to?
Yo solamente quiero darle las gracias también por hablar español. Muy bonito.
I had one from, it was the, where is it? Go
Well,
back to the
while you're
slide.
looking for it, Jesus, we didn't attend the class, he did, so would you help us out? We're thinking about doing that though, but help us out interpret what you just told him.
Well, Mr. Johnson, you need to get into dual immersion program.
Right.
I just said that. Thank you for speaking Spanish. I think it's great. It's beautiful. Thank you.
Okay, so the school with 51% AP passing rate in advanced placement calculus, does that mean that 51% of the school has passed AP calculus, or that 51% of the people who take the AP?
Correct. 51% of the students that took the AP test in that class passed.
Mrs. Maddox?
Yes.
Maybe I didn't make myself clear to
Okay.
the board. The only reason I asked this, did we have anything to say, is because this young man did such a great job, and I thought we had some comments concerning him. But what we'll do is, like we always do, we will always allow the board an opportunity to speak once we're done, so you can just go over everything that you've that's been presented, unless there's something that you want to be answered like right away. So again, the only reason I did that, broke ranks, is what happens, is because of the work that he did when he was up here. So if we have any comments concerning that, that's what we'll entertain.
Sí,
right
tengo
now.
un comentario. Gracias.
Here we go again.
Esto es para Tayden. Qué gusto oír que sí puede hablar español y que está hablando español. Soy profesor de español aquí, pero también yo soy el presidente de los maestros aquí en Moreno Valley. Y qué emoción me dio, que yo no lloro en público mucho, pero empecé a llorar cuando me fijé que puede hablar tan bien el español. Quiero agradecerle y honrar el trabajo que has hecho tú. I just said that, hi, and I'm a Spanish teacher, but I'm also president of the teachers in Moreno Valley, and I just really want to thank you for the hard work that you've done, Tayden. And it is not often that the president of the teachers cries, but I did start to cry. It gave me a lot of emotion to see how well you're doing and how well our students are. So I'm just very excited, and as a language teacher, a world language teacher, I just couldn't be happier than right now.
Thank you. Morgan?
I think that what he just did shows off how amazing our dual immersion programs are, and it was really exciting to see that, and it was good job. That was really awesome. So it makes me really excited to see these programs, and I can't wait to get my kids into them. So.
I'm just glad that we have a dual immersion program. It's so important. I think that learning a second language early in life helps you with many skills in life. It helps your brain to work a little bit differently in the way that you think so that you can be more successful in other areas as well. My granddaughter is in the IB program now at Vista Heights Middle School and is taking Spanish for the first time in 8th grade, and she's so excited because she has so many friends that speak Spanish, and she says, oh, now I'm going to be able to talk to them in Spanish. It's going to be great. So I think she's getting a little bit of a late start in 8th grade, but I hope that she can pursue that and be successful in learning Spanish, and good job.
¿Cómo está? That's it. Congratulations, young man.
Well, I'm not going to even try that one either. But I will tell you, I just saw the birth of a leader. Remember that. Someone else told you that you're a leader. So if we're telling you that, then you need to just believe that. One of the first assignments that I'm going to be giving you is influence some of your friends to learn the same things that you've learned. If not this year, next year, and the year after that, because they're going to see the benefits that you're going to be getting from having dual languages. So continue that, and remember, you are a leader. With that being said, thank you. You can continue.
Let's continue by introducing another student who is in our welding program at Moreno Valley High School. His name is Damon McCoy. He's a senior at Moreno Valley High School. Damon, thank you for being here. And Ms. Brown, his principal, is also here this evening.
Good afternoon to you all. My name is Damon McCoy. I am a student athlete for a trio of sports, as you can see.
No.
While being enrolled in the welding program for 3 years.
Is this mic on?
Oh, I guess I'm just that loud. Welding has provided multiple opportunities for me, whether I decide to attend college or go straight into the workforce. The certificate that is available at Moreno Valley High can offer a strong display of my knowledge and skill as a welder. In total, there are 7 certifications that reveal many job opportunities in the real world. Over the years, this program has helped me realize my passion for the welding field. The class itself is like no other I have ever taken. From welding and fabricating to operating our newly installed virtual welding machine. There's just limited possibilities to everything. It's just wonderful. My plans after high school is to use this certification and go into apprenticeship this summer to get a real life experience in the welding field to help me pursue my career as a civil engineer. I am a proud student of Moreno Valley High and its unique welding program. And like we Vikings say, no dilly, no dally, we are Mo Valley.
Thank you, Damon. I would now like to introduce Melody Ortega. She is an IB diploma student from Canyon Springs High School.
So, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Melody Ortega. I'm a junior at Canyon Springs High School. This year, Canyon Springs High School has started the IB program, and I decided that I would like to be a diploma student. Being an IB is a challenge, and I've always been an AP/honors student, and I thought that this was a bit more rigorous, and I really wanted to challenge it and see how it will help me and prepare for college. And so far, the program has been great. Our counselor, Ms. Flores, is truly a great counselor and has been guiding us through writing our, has helped us through our classes and everything that we need to know to prepare for this future, for this program and to get into college. And I think that this program is very beneficial to helping me get into college. So, yeah.
Thank you, Melody. And I know that her principal, Mrs. Kerr, is also here. And now I'd like to introduce Johanna Angeles. I'm sorry.
It's not, I keep turning it off and on. I just want to ask the board, do they have any comments on those two speakers? None? Okay.
I thought they were great.
Johanna Angeles, a 12th grader from Vista del Lago Health Academy, and we have her principal, Mr. Eric Swanson, here.
Good afternoon. My name is Johanna Alicia Angeles. I'm a senior from Vista del Lago High School and a proud member of the Health Academy program. I joined Health Academy with the aim of fortifying my resolve to work in the medical field in the future. Based on my 3 years of experience in the program, I can utterly say that it has been the greatest decision I've made throughout high school. Health Academy bestows immense opportunities, especially regarding healthcare. Some benefits I obtained include receiving exposure to the hospital setting by volunteering and job shadowing, acquiring certifications such as CPR and first aid, and exploring career and college options through speakers and field trips. Additionally, Health Academy allows me to participate in HOSA, an international student organization for future health professionals. Along with other students, I study and train for months in order to compete in the annual competitions and represent the school. HOSA also offers workshops and encourages networking. Furthermore, Health Academy enables me to enhance my leadership skills. As the previous treasurer and the current vice president of the leadership team, I'm able to take part in forming the yearly work plan and deciding on behalf of all the students in the program. I also have the chance to demonstrate my leadership skills by being chair committee for charity drives. Aside from career knowledge, Health Academy gave me a sense of belonging. As a newly emigrated freshman, I did not know how the school system worked. Hence, I was painfully aloof and shy. When I became part of this prestigious program during sophomore year, I was suddenly surrounded by amazing like-minded individuals, including an absolutely committed teacher, Mrs. Dolan, who would move mountains for us. After high school, I intend to major in biomedical engineering. Eventually, I will attend medical school to finally achieve my dream of becoming a physician. With education I gained through Health Academy, I am certain that I will have the ability to succeed in all my aspirations.
Yes. If she doesn't mind just coming back and just stand for a minute. Anybody have any comments?
I'm glad we have so many opportunities for our students in high school, both to prepare them for careers and to prepare them for college. It just seems like we're doing a lot of different things. I mean, we've heard about everything from welding to becoming a doctor. It just seems like we're giving a wide array of opportunities to our students, so I'm happy to see that.
Yo le voy a decir a Tylen primero que tú te has convertido en un ejemplo de cómo implementando programas en el distrito que sirven tus necesidades y tus gustos, lo que tú quieres hacer, ayuda al distrito para mejorar los programas para muchos estudiantes que quieren ser como tú y que quieren hablar 2 o más idiomas también. Es un ejemplo para ese programa. So, I'm going to say it in English. I'm stating that he has become an example of why having a program in the district, and this goes to the 4 students, having these programs in the district implemented, some of them many years ago, some of them recently, how that opens the doors for many other students to have what they need and what they want and where they feel comfortable and to find where their future is. Because if we didn't have these programs, we wouldn't have the doors open for them. So you are becoming an example of why we have these programs, and we can justify it easily just by listening to your comments here. So thank you for being part of those programs, and thank you for expressing that desire to be in those programs, because that forced the district to do what you need. Thank you.
I do have a comment. I believe that your dreams are going to come true. You've already told us what you want to do in the future, and there's no doubt it's going to happen. And I brought that up because I met a nurse recently at Kaiser, and she graduated from Canyon Springs. She loved music. She was in the band. In fact, she even talked to me about the band director, and I told him about her, and he remembered her. And he was surprised that, or he was not surprised that she was a nurse. My point in mentioning that is because when you have a goal set like that, you just keep focus on it, and you will become a doctor one day. So thank you very much. Thank you for being a leader, and continue working hard.
Did I hear you say that you came here in the 9th grade?
Yes. Yes.
All right, and now are you a senior this year?
Yes.
And you're doing really well here in Moreno Valley in the schools here?
It's great.
And you're speaking English very well, right?
Yes.
It's fantastic. It's fantastic to hear you and to see in such short time how well you've done and how much you've accomplished. Thank you.
Where did you come from?
I came from the Philippines.
And even though we didn't call up the other two, we didn't ask the other 2 guys, go ahead. We didn't ask the other 2 guys to stand there. I did write a little note on Damon for sure. Let me see. Yeah, Damon, the guy who wants to be a welder. Where is he? Engineer, right. Yes, man, I can see it already. You're gonna do that because you're determined. No, who's? Oh, Justin Keeling. Okay, man, there's some greatness in your family. Is your family here?
I have my mother right here.
Okay. I can't see it, but oh, hi, Mom. Hi. Yeah. Well, congratulations to you, and I'm sure that you're going to meet your goals, and you're going to be well known, and you will do well. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
I didn't get the other guy.
Thank you. I would like now to proceed to present more district data.
Go ahead.
Here is our CASP, the California Assessment of Student Performance and Progress. This test is given in the spring, May in our school district. Just a reminder that we test 3rd through 8th grade and 11th grade. So this is the percentage of students that are meeting or exceeding standards on that. So 2017, 30%. You have it now for math. And we grew 4 percentage points, which is one of the, it's the highest growth. There were only 2 school districts that had the 4% growth in math. So we're up at 21% of our students meeting or exceeding standards in mathematics. In 8 of our grade levels, we have improved in English or math. So here are the grade levels. And to make it a little bit more visual for you, here is the graph for English. You can see that we have increased in 3rd, 4th, and 11th grade. One more time, percentage of students meeting or exceeding standards, and also in math, 4th, 5th, 6th, and 8th grade have improved. Now let's look at our student groups to see how they're doing. This is percentage met and exceeded standard by student groups, and you can tell the student groups that are there. One more time, these are the groups that we need to make sure that we address anytime we have student achievement data and we talk about program and services. Also, they need to be addressed in our LCAP. And now you see the same student groups for math. Data is important information, but it doesn't mean anything if we don't do anything about it. So to talk more about math and English, our two core areas, I'm going to invite Dr. Buster so we can hear about what we're doing in math and English, looking at our data. What are our steps?
Thank you. Good evening, everyone. I'm just going to talk very briefly about where we've been and where we're going, especially with math. We're going to start with math first because we're really proud of our success this past year with the growth of 4 points and the collective efforts of everyone in the district really pulling together to have a focused plan. One of the key elements that we need for alignment and really tightening up our curriculum instruction and assessment process is core math programs such as the ones listed here. So we have finally now have our last year was our full implementation year of our state board approved adopted materials. The Common Core state standards, the California Common Core standards for math are very difficult and very different from the 1997 standards. So it was important to have textbooks that were aligned. That was a really tough year when we first adopted financially for our district, and so we really had to work through the training process. So last year we made a concerted effort to ensure that every teacher was trained, especially TK through 8th grade, in the core math. So we have Go Math for TK through 5, and then we have the California Math courses 1, 2, and 3 in the middle school, and then California Integrated Math 1, 2, and 3 for high school. And all of those departments have worked diligently getting trained on those materials as well. So that was a key piece, but then also an important piece was to develop a math plan. And so here's the template for the math plan. I think in your packet you have actually a sample of one. I think it's Hidden Springs. And that kind of shows you kind of where we've been and where we're going to go. So we have lots of work to still do in math, and so by having a focused plan with these 7 building blocks, if you will, or foundations, we'll be able to address our student achievement. Some of the key pieces and the biggest things we attribute our growth to is the planning. Planning is critical. We only have a finite amount of time with our students and before the CASP assessments, so we want to make sure that we have sharp planning, that every teacher in every classroom knows exactly what they're going to teach and how much time they're going to spend on it before the assessments. And so these things were developed by the professional development department in kind of a think tank fashion using research. We studied some articles relating to professional development and coaching is a big piece of this plan, you'll see. So I'm not going to steal too much thunder of our guests who are going to share a success story, but I do want to just real fast, I'm going to go ahead and advance to the next slide, stop there and have Misty Kelly and Mary Stafford Misty Kelly is the principal formerly at Hidden Springs. As you know, we've heard about great growth from Hidden Springs, especially in math. And Mary is the professional development specialist who was a key player in the coaching and professional development piece.
Thank you. First of all, I wanted to say when we started working on our math plan, obviously it was Dr. Buster's department that brought that forward. But when we started having the conversation with our staff, it started with our superintendent's expectations. We looked at those goals and we wanted to see how we could meet those goals. Can we forward to the next slide, please? Thank you. So this is where we started at in 2016, and this is where we went in 2017 with this process. We had 29% students proficient in math, and we knew that that was not acceptable for us. So Mary and I, we worked together through our math plan. You have a copy in your packets, but our big piece was we collaborate often, very often. We meet every week. We talk about what our goals are. We always go back to those superintendent's expectations. We would refer back to our math plan frequently. And we spent a lot of time planning. Like we got each teacher met with us, Mary and I together as a grade level. And we took all of the standards and we unfolded all the standards and we looked at how many times we taught each standard. And then from that next step, we looked at the data. Where are we? Where is our map data? Where do we want to go? And so we set goals with the kids about like where they're at and where they want to go each time we took the map assessment. And we had that data posted in a wall, like where our professional development happened. And we always referred back to that data. So if students weren't making the growth that we wanted, we would look at that and we would develop interventions from based on what they needed. Mary, did you want to add? I want to get you in here too.
Thank you. The other day, one of my colleagues asked me, what would you say is the one key piece that helped you reach the goals that you were able to reach at Hidden Springs? And I think personally, my response to that would be the collaborative effort that itself. We work together very well. As she said, we meet together regularly. And so the trust that she placed in me, one of the things that she did was she gave up her staff meeting every month to me as professional development specialist. We looked at our math plan, we looked at the data, what did the teachers need, what did they need by way of support, and once a month we were able to meet together as a whole staff. She also provided substitutes so that I could work with teachers in grade level teams and even one-on-one periodically throughout the school year. So the collaborative effort, I think, was key. However, it doesn't matter how often we talked if our teachers weren't committed to the process. So without the teachers, none of this could have taken place. So it really was a collaboration, I think, that started with Misty and found its way to the staff, and everybody was committed to the growth targets that were set before us.
I just want to say, I think we exceeded what our expectations were in our math growth. We had growth in ELA as well. We're significantly above the district average, but we are double the district average in our math growth. And so I just want to say that I was really happy with the process, and it's something that I know that we're going to continue. I know Mary's doing that at Hidden Springs, but I'll be bringing to my new staff at Ridgecrest. So thank you.
I have a comment. It's remarkable what you were able to do in the 5th grade, from 14 to 45. It's unbelievable. I commend you.
That was an interesting, I'm glad that you noticed that. That was one teacher. One teacher decided he was really strong in math, and the other teachers would support him by teaching English and writing. And so one teacher decided, I'm strong in math and I want to do that. And Mary and I supported him in that and figured out a way to rotate the students. That's all one teacher. So we were very proud of him.
Wow.
Yes, I was texting him over the summer saying, great job. The preliminary data was looking really good.
Anyone else?
So will he be doing that again?
I don't know because I'm not there anymore. So I don't know what the new principal has set forth, but I knew it was successful. So maybe Mary can.
Yes, he is.
Yes, I just want to say, Same thing. Congratulations for that great work. And I think you mentioned, one of you two mentioned that it has a lot to do with the collaboration between the teacher, the administration and the teachers. And I'm sure that there's something to do there with the collaboration with the parents too, the family involvement there. So I think you got the formula. Hopefully we can replicate that formula to other classrooms and other schools too. I'm sure it's happening, but these numbers are remarkable. So there's the formula. So thank you for stressing the collaboration. I think that's key. Thank you.
Done. I didn't get a chance to say anything, but that's okay. You guys can stand right there. I can just look at you over there. I do want to thank you for the work that you've already done and the work that you're going to be doing in the future. But I do want to point out one thing, and I noticed this twice. When you mentioned the growth in ELA, it was almost like it's just like an afterthought. I know that's not what you meant, but I commend you for the work that you're doing in that area. It's not the easiest thing to do. So thank you for the work that you do in the ELA area. That is fantastic. And it goes without saying, the double digits in math, that is the core of everything. If you can't get math now, it's going to be very difficult when you become an adult. So thank you guys for doing that. And then I also want to thank Misty. She, new site, I had a chance to visit with her, and I know her heart. She's happy to be there. And she's going to lend all of the talents that she's got to make it even better. So thank both of you guys. Thank you, Misty.
So we also realized some success at Badger Springs Middle School, so I'd like to introduce Mr. Barney and have him introduce his students that came along.
Señor Johnson, buenas tardes. Es un placer. I'm bilingual now. This is
all right.
This is Marco Almado, and Darla Sanchez was another student. She hasn't arrived yet, but we are happy to talk a little bit tonight about some of the things that we're doing at Badger Springs that some of the students have had a great success on. In our math strategic plan, we have implemented a program called FEV Tutoring. It's an online virtual tutoring program that we've implemented during the day to support students like Marco that need a little bit more math support. It's custom tailored to each student during the day, so they're on a one-to-one platform on their Chromebooks with a tutor. And we take map data and share that with the company, and they customize plans to support them in the areas that they have to support them in achieving greater success in the standards that they may be a little bit short on. So Marco is a great success story. He was in this as a 7th grader all last year. So he had his core math class, and he also had FEV tutoring for one period, right? And in 1 year, well, actually, I'll start back in 6th grade. Marco was scoring in the 30th percentile on his MAP scores. He's now up in the 80th percentile. And from his 6th grade to 7th grade, he went from nearly meeting the standards to exceeding the standards on the CASP test. So he's a great success story. But 60% of his class that were in the FEV tutoring program with him also grew one level on the CASP test. So Marco's here to answer any questions you have. Do you want to say anything? What did you like about FEV tutoring? Come talk in the mic.
I like if they're going too fast, you can ask them to slow down, or if they're going too slow, you can ask them to go faster.
Did you see the same tutor every time?
Yeah.
So they had a consistency with the same tutor via the Chromebooks every time that they had a session. And what else do you think how else did they support you?
They supported me by like sometimes when I learned something recently in the math class, they would teach me it again, and then it kind of stuck in my brain after like listening to the same lesson a lot.
Do you think that's why you grew so much on your test scores?
Yeah.
One of the reasons, anyway, besides your teachers and your awesome principal.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, we're really proud of Marco and the other students as well. He's just one example that we wanted to come and give him the opportunity and recognize him as well. I have a certificate for you before you leave tonight. His mom's outside, but we're really proud of the work, the strategic plan that helped us implement this program, and we're implementing more sections this year to support students like Marco. Marco's not in that anymore, and so he's just has his one math class and continuing to make good progress, and as he prepares to go to high school next year. Is there anything you want to add? Okay. Any questions? Would you like me to repeat that in español?
Por favor.
Good job, Marco.
Marco, great job. I'm surprised I didn't get a chance to meet you. The last time I was at your school, of course that was last school year though. So the next time I come, make sure that I get a chance to either visit his class or see him on the campus. The reason I mention that is because I like to go to his school. When I go to his school, he and I walk the campuses, and if I remember correctly, the last time I was there, we were walking the campus, and we saw this one kid, this one young man, and we stopped to talk to him. Next thing we know, we had about maybe 20 boys in the area, right, that was surrounding us. The reason I tell that story is because I gave a few of them my business cards. You know, I'm letting them know who, you know, I'm a big guy. Just kidding you. But here's the thing. I don't even know if I even shared this with you, but just a few days later, Mr. Lopez, and you know, there's a lot of Lopez at your school, so people don't know who I'm talking about. You do. Mr. Lopez texted me and said, thank you. Now, the reason I mentioned that is because when he and I was talking, Mr. Lopez was outside of his office waiting to see the principal. I don't know what about. It wasn't my business, but I could tell it wasn't one of those friendly conversations. So when we walked out of there, we saw him again in the playground. So thank you so much for treating that young man with respect and dignity. And yeah, he texted me. I still have it. So just know your principal loves you as well, and he cares about you. So thank you for what you're doing and what you're doing for his school.
Thank you. Thank you, Mr. Johnson. I just wanted to add Darla, who didn't show up, equally successful as Marco, went from the 30th percentile up to the 70th percentile, went from nearly meeting to meeting the standards, growing, both of them growing almost 200 points on the CASP test. And so Darla, I wanted to just make sure I mentioned her as well tonight.
Good,
so,
good. Thank you.
Thank you.
Patty, could you go back to slide 42? I just want to highlight again, it's in your packet, you can see it up closely, but look at the 7 parts of the math improvement plans and the ELA improvement plans you're going to see in just a second. They're identical, but the 7 parts, you heard all about them. Planning, you heard about math interventions like FEV tutoring. We have family numeracy night at every single school that did a math plan. We worked with TK through 8th grade. So we had that parent component. We have the coaching sessions. We have professional development sessions, not just on the textbook, but also on best practices. We had the CAS prep. We had amazing leadership by assessment and accountability department in terms of not just practice tests, but also getting the data like Mr. Barney just shared. We kind of live and breathe by our math scores because they've turned it, our MAP scores, because they have given us great predictability on the CASP. So we really use those. You see in that photo on the math plan of Hidden Springs, that is kind of a very visual display of the MAP data. So all of these things came together to build success. So just to highlight really fast, we'll be monitoring all of the math improvement plans this year by month, making sure that everyone's kind of, clicking along with the process, thinking about September. We want to get every single teacher trained in the core programs. We want to make sure by December that everybody's had 1 or 2 coaching episodes. Now, what is coaching? Coaching can be consultative, like subs and helping them plan, or maybe it's an observation feedback, or maybe it's a co-plan, co-teach, or maybe it's a demonstration lesson. So we have lots of models for coaching, but we know one thing research tells us, and we know this working here in Moreno Valley, is collaboration works. So when our teachers get together and collaborate, we have success. So that kind of lays out the whole year. And then if we go on to the next slide, we have now we're just right now at the beginning phases of implementing our brand new state board adopted materials. For TK through 5, we have Wonders. Carol Boyen-Held has been amazing in terms of getting us materials TK through 12. She oversees all the textbooks, but also in working collaboratively with our department, professional development, to get every single teacher trained. We had, out of 620 elementary teachers, we had 600 trained in the summer, so we didn't have to pull them out of class. That's huge. Everybody say ooh, ah, because that's huge. And we're excited they all gave up their summer to come. And then also for grades 6 through 8, we have Study Sync, and Dr. Ken Wagner is our new secondary director who's been heavily involved in Study Sync and Springboard and supporting teachers as they're learning. I know he's only been here like 5 minutes, but a couple weeks, but he's already very involved with what's going on curriculum-wise. And also we have Step Up to Writing. So all three of us have been working on projects where our teachers are using Step Up to Writing and correlating that and integrating it with the textbook series. Then of course we have alternative core programs. Our alternative core in this district is Read 180 and System 44. So, and then the next slide, Patty, is just, again, the template is identical to the math one, except it's focused on English language arts. And next slide is the timeline for English language arts, a little bit different. We're not looking for number talks per se, but we'll be looking for specific coaching episodes that are going to support teachers with best practices.
Thank you, Dr. Buster. I think you can tell that data has driven some plans, some consistency. So it's planning and monitoring, and it's a cycle of improvement in these core areas. We're going to move now to more data. What's happening is in November, the state is going to be releasing the California dashboard for all districts. So it is a good time right now to kind of review what that's going to look like, what are the components, and what does that mean for our district. So I'm going to ask Mr. Glenn Alegre, Director of Assessment and Accountability, to come and walk us through that information.
Good evening. So how are these results connected to accountability? As you know, in our old system, it was all just about ELA and math, and we had something called AYP and API, and that was all done away with as soon as we had Every Student Succeed Act, the ESSA. And so, as I said here, it eliminates AYP completely. And what they wanted is it to be more than just ELA and math, which are still a big part of the new accountability system, so we can't get away from that. But they also wanted to make sure we included things like science, English language learner proficiency, grad rates, and then a non-academic measure, which is new. And those can be anything from suspension, chronic absenteeism, parent engagement. And the point of that is because the test scores only show one facet of what a school is all really about. All of these things can tell you and show you how great your school is, your grad rate, your test scores, how well your English learners are making progress. And so for us, these are all tied to the local control funding rubrics. And so what schools are now going to be graded as far as accountability are going to be these 8 areas. You see some are in green and some are in white. The ones that are in green are what we call the state indicators. These are all data that the state collects from us through CalPads and other means so that they can calculate our chronic absenteeism. They can calculate our suspension rate. They can calculate our graduation rate because of all the data we send up to them. But there are also some things that we don't send up to the state that also show how good a school is, and that's what are involved with the local indicators. And you see 4 of them that can also show how good schools and districts are. Basic conditions at schools, which have everything to do with, are the toilets working? Does every kid have a book? Are the teachers credentialed properly? We have implementation of state academic standards. So how well are we progressing with next generation science standards, or how well are we progressing with Common Core? Parent engagement, which is a huge thing, especially in our district. How well are parents being informed? Do they have a say in what's going on with our school district? How well are they involved and learning? And then climate survey, not only is it good for kids to feel like they're doing well with their test scores, but do they feel safe at school? That's also important. Do they feel connected to their teachers or the principal? And as you've seen by these examples, we can definitely say yes. So how are these scores going to be graded? There's different ones for state and indicator. Let's talk about the state one first. Each of these are going to be given a grade. And they're going to be given a color. Everything from blue, which is the top, to red, which is the bottom. And as you see, they're split up into little pie pieces, 5 sections for each. And so the blue, which is completely filled out, green has 4, yellow, orange, and then red has 1. And so when you see these colors, and you will start seeing these colors throughout the rest of the presentation, when we talk about the different indicators, you'll see that it goes from blue to red, highest to lowest. Now, how are these blue, red, yellows determined? There's something called the 5x5 grid for each of these different indicators. And so what this does is, one of the biggest things with ESSA, instead of test scores, or not just test scores, anything, just showing you where you are, you also want to know the change you had from the previous year. So it's twofold, this whole new accountability system. How well did you score, whether it's how high your grad rate was or how well your kids were performing on the tests, to also how does that compare to the prior year. And so both of those measures make up the color that they get. For example, let's say you had an LEA with a high status and an increase in change. So I'm going to go walk to the screen real quick. So you have a high status, so you're up in this row, with a change of increase, which is here. So where do those two intersect? Is on this green box. So on the dashboard, it'll come up with a green pie. And so for every indicator, you're going to have a pie, and you're also going to have a 5x5 grid to show you where you are. So as you go through the next ones, you'll be introduced to those different measures.
Okay, well, any questions? I'm trying to read. Yeah. Any questions? I do have one. If you go back to the LCFF evaluation rubrics, I don't see the page number on here. Oh, right here, 53, right in front of me. You mentioned on number 3, parent engagement.
Yes, sir.
Well, I commend you for the work that we're doing in that area. Is there still more work that we need to do to get more of our parents engaged?
Oh, yes. I've just been working with my team compiling different sign-in sheets, different ways parents are getting connected. And so where we have thousands coming in, there are thousands more that we can also reach. And so there is always work to be done with parent engagement.
Yeah, but so what are we doing to reach out to those folks that we don't hardly ever see? Are we doing anything special?
That is a great question, and I know...
That's fine, that's okay.
I do know that as I was doing some research in this, I talked to some of our engagement folk with the EL, and she was talking to me about different ideas she had to try to reach more parents and to educate more parents in everything. So although I don't have specifics, I know there is work and a desire to expand that.
So work won't get done until we start it, right? The work won't get done until we start it.
Yes.
So you have our okay to get it started. Yeah. Do whatever you have to do.
Yes, sir.
Except borrow money from us. But do whatever you have to do to get more parents, because I believe that once you get the parents involved with their own students, then the students, as you've already said, will do much better than what they're doing.
Yeah, I agree.
So
Mr. Johnson, I attended the Valley View High School open house last week. And it was to start at 7 o'clock or 5:30, I think. And there weren't very many there, so I made a comment about the ones I've seen at elementary schools. They're packed. And she says, oh, they'll be here. And sure enough, by the time, in about 15 minutes, that place was full. The gymnasium was full of parents at Valley View High School. And that is a terrific thing to see high school students' parents come to open houses and to see what's going on in their kids' lives. And it was remarkable because I did not anticipate more. And so I think it's important that we make it available and we do incentivize however we have to get parents involved, because if parents care, the kids care. Parents don't care, the kids don't care.
Huge correlation there.
And please don't see that as a criticism. All I'm just pointing out is that we'll always have work to do in that area. That's the only point.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Mr. Johnson, it did remind me that Dr. Katsura is expecting all of our schools to have math and literacy parent nights. That's his expectation for this year, so it's going to happen.
Good.
And I think that would also assist us.
Good.
Can I ask one thing? I'd like to see maybe a list of those nights. I know they're listed on each school's calendar, but I would like one list of all the numeracy nights and all the literacy nights, so that if I want to go to a few, I could quickly sort those out.
Definitely.
Thank you.
Dr. Katsura?
Thank you, Mrs. Maddox. Our literacy and math nights haven't begun yet because we're completing back to school nights, and they just were completed last week. I wanted to mention Mr. Johnson because you asked about parent engagement, and we'd be remiss if we didn't talk about our parent ambassadors in this district, because it's one of the signature pieces of our improvement process. It's in our LCAP, and Mrs. Brown is here tonight, and she's one of the parent ambassadors. And one of the things that they do, and there's so much parent involvement, but we have to recognize that much has been done and much needs to be done. But one of the things they are charged with is improving the parent outreach, the parent connection in each school. And they do that in an individual basis, but it creates more connection between the district and the community. And they have been phenomenal at that. So one of the things Mr. Allegre has been working on with a research company is getting research on that. And did you want to say anything about that research that you're doing with that company about parent ambassadors and what we're trying to get so that they hear about what we're trying to capture in our district?
Right now, the company is working very closely with Martha Cepeda. Oh, Medina. Oh, there she is. And we've had phone conversations, and they're creating survey tools that we can get out there. And then once that tool's created, we're going to get it out, get the results back, be able to analyze the data, and then be able to plan. Once we have the data, we can do something and plan for improvements based on what we see with the data. So we're in the beginning stages of that.
Thank you. Thank you.
I'd also like to say that Mrs. Brown was at Valley View High School at that open house. And she and I and her, was it your son or daughter? What? My son. Your son. Anyway, it was great to see her there, and the ambassadors truly make a difference, I think.
Yeah, I think so. Great
But
program.
Mrs. Brown is the parent ambassador for Valley View High School.
Well, she was where she's supposed to be.
Good job. Good job, Mrs. Brown.
Thank you.
And I like to add one comment to that.
Definitely.
I think we need to keep in mind that the parent ambassadors program and tools or initiatives like the telephone town hall and those kinds of things are unique to this district, and we have been asked for examples of that by other districts and organizations because they know it's working very effectively here. So it's something that we need to be proud of and something that we need to showcase every time we can.
Okay.
Okay.
Proceed. Thank you.
Mr. Allegre gave you some very general information on the dashboard. We're going to look at two dashboards that are very specific. So we're going to start with the English learner, the dashboard for the English learner, to show how they're doing. And then I'm going to ask Ms. Lilia Vella here to discuss the English learner program.
Thank you very much. And I also want to start off by saying that since you asked about parent engagement, just very quickly today, Marta and I met with families in schools. We're starting a plan. We're continuing with the plan on family engagement, and we're targeting in particular middle school because that's when family engagement begins to dwindle in our district. So we're going to hit our especially our 6th grade families, and we hope to impact at least 500 families just right on the onset. So I'm very happy with those plans, and families, parent ambassadors will be an integral part of that plan. You heard Mr. Alegre explain the 5x5, and as you notice, our English learners were able to maintain at the medium progress status. And basically what that slide is saying is that 68% of our students, a little over 68% of our students, either went proficiency level on the CELT, which is the assessment that all English learners take yearly, and also, either students went up one proficiency level or they were able to maintain at the top 2 levels of proficiency. And also within that, our students who were reclassified are represented. This is another way of seeing that data. This is a comparison, a 2-year comparison on the CELT. On the left-hand side, you will see how our students fared within those 5 levels of proficiency. And again, the CELT is a California English Language Development Test, and that test is administered yearly. And you will notice that to the right, you will see the change from 15-16 to 16-17. And what you see there is exactly what you want to see. You want to see the 3 levels of the 3 lower levels of proficiency have a negative change because those numbers need to be improving or increasing as we're moving up to the 2 higher levels of proficiency. So we see, for example, that the very bottom, the beginner level of proficiency, we were at 17% the prior year, and then we brought it down to 9%, which was an 8% decrease. Again, that's exactly what you want to see. And for example, with the early advanced, the second highest level of proficiency, we went from 20% to 32%, and that was a positive 12% change. The students in the top 2 levels of proficiency are those students that we immediately reclassify if they meet the other criteria. Also in this slide, I'm very proud to point out to you that we have a significantly higher reclassification rate as compared to the county and the state. We're at 15.9%, where the county is at 11.6%, and the state is at 13.3%. So that's something that we as a district are extremely proud of. We're proud of our teachers for the work that they do daily. Here we have the different programs that we have for our English learners. We have the alternative course of study, which is being phased out at the elementary level and being replaced by dual immersion. And I think all of us were very proud of the student who spoke earlier today. But I'm especially proud because this is a family who came to one of our meetings, and Marta and I were able to convince the family that that was the right thing to do for her child. And so he participated, and now we see that he is becoming a bilingual student. So we also have English language development at all levels, TK through 12th grade, and we're utilizing the listed curricular anchors to provide instruction to our students. At the elementary level for designated ELD, we use Language Power and Project Moving Forward. And at the secondary level, we primarily use Read 180 Universal for our newcomers and English 3D for our long-term English learners. And you've heard me say in the past that English 3D has really proven itself as a curriculum for our students. And then we also, for interventions at the elementary level, we have Imagine Learning. That's our primary intervention. And at the secondary, we have Rosetta Stone. So in terms of looking at our data and thinking about what it is that we're doing for our students that's working and what we want to continue to do is we were able to get you to approve a contract through Elevation, which is a platform that's really helping to streamline the work and really helping our teachers to do the work of monitoring. By law, we are supposed to monitor our students, and the law changed with ESSA. We used to have to monitor our English learners who reclassified for 2 years. Now they have doubled that, so every child after reclassification will be monitored for 4 years. And the Elevation platform is really helping us with that work. And also within our department, we're continuing to support the school sites, and one of the ways that we do that is by continuing to provide ongoing high-quality professional development, in some cases by the authors of the curricular anchors that we're utilizing in our classrooms. I'm really proud of this slide because it really shows that everyone really is on board, and I just made reference to Elevation, which is the platform, and as you can see on the left-hand side, we have the breakdown of our students. We have those students that are still English learners. We have a little over 7,000 students. Half of that pie represents students who were either initially fluent English proficient or students who were RFEP'd. Those that are fully exited are students that we are no longer monitoring, but they were once upon a time an English learner, and we reclassified. And then the bottom half of that side of the pie are the students that, almost 4,000 students that we have reclassified and we are monitoring. What that means is that teachers are utilizing this Elevation platform, and they are keeping an eye on all of those students. And off to the right, you will see, for example, elementary RFEP monitoring students. At the elementary level, of those 3,917 students that we're monitoring, 656 are at the elementary level. So those teachers that have those students monitor the progress of those students and support wherever support is needed. And you will notice that the bottom number is 11,142, and you're wondering, how did that happen? Is that an error? It's not an error. It's we are monitoring English learners, and it takes that many forms to monitor, because at the secondary level, students have multiple teachers, and if they're a core teacher, they are monitoring that student. So it's not that we have 11,000 students being monitored, is that we have over 11,000 forms that are being looked at by teachers, because some teachers have multiple students, and every student has, at the secondary level, more than one class period. That's all I have for you. Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions? Okay, Mrs. Maddox, go ahead.
We now are going to show you another dashboard. It's in regards to graduation. We're very proud of our graduation rate at 87.6, but our superintendent expects 100%. So how do we get there? What do we do? Everyone has a part in this, but I also believe the counselors, with the monitoring and making sure the students have the right classes for graduation or A through G, are very, very important. So I have asked Mr. Peoples, as a former counselor and now assistant principal over guidance at Canyon Springs, to walk us through the dashboard at Moreno Valley High School. I did it again. This is the second time I did that. So I'm going to do this again. And now I'd like to introduce the assistant principal over guidance at Moreno Valley High School, right, Mr. Philip Peoples.
All right.
I would like to say it's the Moreno Valley High School.
Uh-oh.
So thank you so much for having me here tonight. I appreciate it. As we look at our graduation rate indicators, you could see that our district graduation rate indicator is in the green, which means that, again, we are in the medium status, right there, graduation status with an 88.8%. And graduation change increased significantly over the past couple of years with a 6.6% increase, which is very, very positive for our school district. As we move on to the next slide, I want to break down the school rates. As you can see, our district over the past 6 years, we've increased greatly, 17.7% increase over the past 6 years district-wide. That is amazing. At Canyon Springs High School, we're looking at a 90.8%, which is, again, the district goal of 90% or higher, because, again, the goal should be 100%. Thank you, Dr. Kitziora. Moreno Valley High School, we have the second highest growth rate over the past 6 years with a 19.3%. Valley View leading the way with a 20.4% and Vista del Lago at 14.6%. And as you can see, 3 out of the 4 comprehensive high schools are meeting that district goal of 90% or higher. At Moreno Valley High School, what we're doing this past year is we're being more targeted and intentional with identifying the support for our students. At the beginning of this year, before students came back, our counselors conducted a transcript audit for our seniors. And we really want to be intentional. So what that result was is we increased our credit recovery night school sections by 3. We're offering more available resources to our students to help them not only get the class they need to help them graduate, but also fulfill the A through G requirements to be eligible for that university. And again, at the bottom, the district average is above the state average of 83.2%, which is great news. On the next slide, I'm really proud of these next couple slides because now we're starting to see that the achievement gap is beginning to close between student groups. As you could see where we were at in 2010, our Hispanic and African American student groups were at about 63.9%. In regards to graduation rate, and they have raised significantly to 87.9% and 84.2%. So that achievement gap is closing significantly. And again, at the bottom, the district averages are above the state and now national averages for our student groups, which is again, great. And again, it shows that our students can excel. Those expectations have to be in place because they can achieve greatness. On this next slide,
Mr. Peoples, would you please say the names of the groups that are
yes.
above can you read that again and read the names of the groups?
Yes. So in the blue, we have our African American population again at 63.9% in 2011, and they have risen to 84.2% as of 2016 graduation rate. Our Hispanic student group, again, was at 63.9% in 2011 and have risen to 87.9%. Both those groups right there, if you look, that's more than a 20% increase. Yeah. Amazing progress of our student groups in the district. And then the next group is the white 75.1% with an increase of about 14 percentage points in their graduation rate to about 89.9%. So again, that achievement gap is closing. As you could see back in 2010, 2011, that gap was about 12%. Now it's about 5%. So that gap is closing significantly. This next slide, the dropout rate. Again, we want to see this decreased. We want to see our students staying in school, graduating, moving on to that post-secondary education. So again, I'm going to go ahead with the blue line is our African American group. Back in 2010, 2011, they were at about a 21.8% dropout rate. They have decreased to 9.1%. Amazing. Our Hispanic student group, 23.5% in 2010, 2011, have reduced to 6.9%. Wow. And then our white group, 16.8% to 6.6%. And again, that shows that student group, that achievement gap is closing in regards to the dropout rate. So again, amazing progress. We're still not done. Again, we want that to be 0 and we want our graduation rate to be 100. But again, intentional excellence on purpose. That's what we're seeing.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Any questions before you leave?
Yeah.
Do you have a question? Oh.
I love that you were pointing out the things that we were doing to make this happen. The staying open later with the tutoring and those things, because we've had plenty of parents show up here and say things like we're dumbing down the standards and we're lowering our standards. So it's good to hear why it's really happening. And I wish there was more people here that could be hearing why it's happening, because we're not lowering standards. We're bringing up people. We're not holding one group down to lower the achievement gap. We're bringing everybody up. And I thank you for giving us that stats and that information. It's amazing.
Thank you. Thank you.
I don't have a question, I have a comment.
Okay, go ahead.
Alrighty. The association is very excited to see this data and to see what we've all been able to accomplish working together, and most importantly, our students. I just want to challenge a little thing. It's important that the superintendent expects 100% graduation, but it's even more important that every single employee expects 100% graduation. It's also exceedingly important that the students expect to graduate. And we've been partnering with the district, the community, in raising those expectations. It's exciting to me as a 31-year employee of this district that to see the cultural shift that's happened in the last year since 2011 here in this district, to where we have a communal expectation, and we're working with the community to make sure, along with the community, our expectation is that you will graduate and that we will assist you in doing that, and that this is the place where you can excel. And we've done that. We've assisted as an association through getting hundreds of thousands of dollars in grants, like for unconscious bias. And I have to say, I think that's part of it too, to make sure that we're meeting our students where they're at and working to help them in all the achievements that we know that they can make, and to know that every one of our students can achieve and will achieve. So
thank you.
That's the association's viewpoint of this data, and we're happy to have been part of helping.
Thank you. Mr. Hogan?
Yeah, I think the culture, it's important to have that mentality that instead of saying the expectation is to grow by 5% or 6%, whatever, to set the expectation at 100%. And I agree with you that everybody has to be in agreement with that, and everybody has to be willing to do their part to accomplish that goal. And it also shows the community that everybody's committed in the school district and stuff. Now, as far as lowering the standards and those kinds of comments that we have heard recently, it's totally out of line. But we have tools that we can use to prove that that is not the case. For example, the amount of scholarships received this past year. What is it? $63 million in scholarships. I mean, people don't give out their money just because. I mean, these students are prepared. The acceptance at the higher education institutions keeps growing up and all over the country. That's another proof. Some institutions don't take students just because.
That's right.
So these students are getting well prepared, and that is, I think that's a shift in mentality too. From, I remember when I joined the board, the goal was to graduate students, period. And today we're saying they have to be prepared for college career. So that is important, and I think that it's happening. I don't think it is happening, and goes back to the collaboration district-wide. Everybody has to be in agreement with that.
Thank you.
I would like to say, I think the important thing is to bring it down to every single individual student, not to look at the students as a whole group, but to work with every single student and say, this is what this student needs to graduate. And I think that's the important goal, is for each student to know what they have and what they need to take in order to graduate. And I think that, as adults, when we're going to college, we do that kind of thing, and I think it really helps these students to see where they are and where they're going and know that they're on track.
Thank you.
Gary, anything? I do have one, Mr. Peoples. Since when I first met you, you were at Moreno Valley, and I know how you love your students and how you've treated them. But I don't take what you just gave us lightly, because I think for years, it is what it is. And Dr. White is no longer here, but Dr. White, coupled with Dr. Ketchiora, that's one of their priorities. That's one of the things that they said when they first started as a team. We need to change this perception. We need to make sure that we get those students who are on the bottom proud of themselves, and happy about the school that they're attending and that they're going to be doing better. And then they start putting the right people in the right places. You were already there, and now you're back there, so you know we're expecting a lot from you. And I know you probably don't want to give out all of your secrets, but there's something else that you guys did to get those numbers changed like that. I know you said you've been working with the students, but there's something else too that you've done to get the attitudes changed. Can you just share what that is?
You know, I think that the simplest explanation is just really building those relationships with the students and, most importantly, the families. Again, making sure that they're comfortable, they understand that they can come into any school in this district and get the support and the service that they need. So again, first and foremost is those relationships. I don't think you can move forward unless students feel comfortable to come to people on the campus to ask for that help, as well as the parents.
Thank you. And I don't like to really mention names, because when you do, you always inadvertently leave some names out. But I know when I first started, we had Mrs. Maddox there, and then Mr. Bruff came. You had two perfect examples of people who cared about their students and encouraged them a lot. And of course, you were there too, and I'll never forget, you know, the way you encouraged your students and how you motivated them. And I think that's going to continue to grow. So as you started speaking, you said, Dr. Ketz, you're 100%. That means you know what his goals are. Keep working, and you will see that. So
Yes,
thank
sir.
you guys very much.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
Yeah. Well,
And I'm really
next.
glad to say that Ms. Brown is now there, you know, at Moreno Valley High School.
Yeah, I knew that. See, but here's the thing. I mentioned the other two names because when I first started, they were the people that were there. So yeah,
Thank
Mrs.
you.
Brown is just, you know, she's got the baton. You know, she's a, what's that, in the relay race? She's the last person. She's going to bring it in. But I had to mention the first two folks.
We should say that when Miss Maddox began that work many years ago, Miss Brown was her right hand. And it's totally fitting.
Why do you think we sent her back? Why do you think we sent her back? You're not going to get me in trouble.
You got the perfect person.
Thank you. Part of the dashboard, it's also not just to look at student data with academics, but also to look at college and career indicators. I'm not going to go through all of them, but I am going to talk about some that I think are important. The first thing, and I'm glad that we were talking about graduation, and it's not just graduation anymore. It is getting our students college and career ready. So you have this graph that shows our students how many apply to college. College is here defined as a 2-year or 4-year. So as you can tell, our students are going to college by significant numbers. So that's real important to see that district-wide, we have 61% of our students applying to college. So the rigor is there. They're meeting A through G requirements. This would not happen if we were just graduating students not ready. So I think that's important that you have it by district and you have it by the school sites. How many of our seniors are applying to college? Another indicator that the state is looking, it's also advanced placement, participation rates and passing rates on the AP test with a 3 or better. One more time, here you have it by high schools. It shows their passing rate and their participation rate. I think we can be proud that our participation rate has increased. What that means is we have more students enrolling in AP classes. We in this district have what we call open access. If you want to take an AP class in this district, you're able to do so. Of course, we have to support you. We have to make sure that you have whatever support you need to be successful. But I do want to show you that we have maintained, we have actually maintained our passing rate, which needs to improve, but we have maintained our passing rate at the same time that we have increased our participation rate. So if you look at that district-wide participation rate, it's 82.3 of our students participate in an AP class with a 29% passing rate. So you have it there by high schools. What are we doing that's different? This is under the leadership of Kristen Hunter to work on AP. So we have worked on AP. We have provided opportunities for the teachers to come together and articulate best practices. So they're looking at AP data and sharing what they do. So for example, September 14th, which was just last week, we had over 80 AP teachers from all of our high schools right here in the boardroom looking at data, articulating, networking, sharing what's working for them. And it's important because some of them might be the only AP teacher that teaches that AP class. For example, AP French, you might be the only teacher there. So it's important that we get you together. So that just happened last week. But we're also helping our students. We had over 200 students go to UCR this past Saturday and participate in the UCR AP readiness workshops. That helps our from other districts in AP classes taught by other teachers that teach AP. That's so important for our students. It gets them on a college campus. They get to meet other students that take AP classes, and it's important for our teachers. So that's very important. Also, I want you to know that our high schools have done parent nights for AP. But let's ask someone what they did specifically. So at this time, I'm going to ask Mrs. Tamara Kerr and Antonia Hunt to discuss a little bit what did they do at Canyon Springs High School to increase participation rates and to increase passage rates. Mrs. Kerr.
Thank you. We are representing the Canyon Springs High School.
I like that. Got it back.
Mr. Ball, you asked earlier about the previous number of exams that were passed. The district number for the 2017 testing season was 775. The year before that, it was 671, so there was a significant increase. At Canyon Springs, we look at support for advanced placement at 3 different levels. We look at the student level, we look at the teacher, what can we do to support the teacher. We also look at the overall site level of support and what can we do in all of those 3 areas, in addition to what the district does for us to support AP. Advanced placement programs don't just help the advanced placement students. They help you increase rigor across the board, whether it's a regular ed class, a special ed class, or the actual advanced placement class, and you do that through your vertical articulation. So Antonia is going to talk a little bit about what we do at the student and teacher level.
To begin with, we began with the teachers, and we really wanted to collaborate with them and come together and see how can we support our teachers through the AP program. This started with yearly meetings looking at their data. This went beyond just the pass rate data for AP teachers, but rather into that deep level data of how do our grades compare to pass rate. It's not going to be a one-to-one comparison, but students should have a clear understanding of their content level knowledge going into any examination. We then looked at their enrollment data. How many students are we losing at the semester because they changed their mind about AP, and what can we do to support those students? Then we started a 2-year cycle for training. Every teacher that teaches AP is expected to attend training every 2 years. If they want to go more often, that is absolutely supported by the site, but the mandatory level is every 2 years so that they're keeping on top of the latest and greatest training for their particular subject area. And then we started quarterly collaboration meetings. These are after-school meetings where our AP, IB, and honors teachers can all come together. We wanted to have that clear articulation between our honors and our AP teachers, so we've started them down the path of pre-AP training and really tried to include them in that collaborative piece to ensure that they're moving forward successfully. For our students, we've really encouraged the UCR AP Readiness, which thanks to the district, we have over 100 students signed up to attend the UCR AP Readiness. This is on Saturdays on their own time, so we're very excited. This is up from 40 from last year. We began an honors and AP learner profile, so students would know what the expectations of entering an honors or an AP class would be for them, and they could start self-selecting. Many students who wouldn't have thought of themselves as that honors or AP student have started to look towards our classes and say, well, maybe I can try that, and maybe I can be successful with that. We offered summer preparation courses for all honors and AP students to come in and start preparing themselves for the rigors of the school year. And we started further interventions and supports. We have the homework center 4 days a week for all of our students, but specifically we started a math lab and writing lab. Students can come and work with teachers on the specific needs that they might have and have that one-on-one support that they can get nowhere else as they can with a teacher. And finally, our district level collaborative support meetings have been invaluable, bringing together our teachers with those of others in the district so that AP teachers aren't feeling alone, but rather can collaborate with others and gain best teaching practices.
We also use the master schedule as a vehicle to improve what's happening with AP courses. We look carefully at teacher loads. We try not to give any single teacher more than 2 sections of an AP course. A couple reasons. We don't want them to be overloaded because there's a lot of grading involved. It's a heavy load for a teacher. But we also want to increase collaboration. So we want our teachers to have another teacher teaching the same thing that they can talk with and plan with. And for those classes where we only have one, that's where the district level collaboration becomes extremely important. And flex days, we use flex days for this as well. For example, we only have one AP French teacher. He can go on a flex day to another high school that has one AP French teacher, and they can work together. We try not to mix AP and IB. I know IB is new for us this year, but mixing those two methodologies is not effective because they use two completely different thought processes. We look carefully at why are we offering this AP course? Is it fitting in with the rest of our school program, or is it something that we've just had forever and to be blunt, doesn't really serve any useful purpose anymore? So we look carefully at that. And then articulation. We want to make sure that the students that go into an AP course are ready for that AP course. So we start that planning early. Our 9th grade teachers in English are talking to the 10th grade, who are talking to the 11th grade, where the first AP language course comes in, making sure that we have those preliminary steps in place for all of the students so that they are ready for that level of rigor. Coming new this year, we're working on an AP Honors Handbook that we'll be giving to all of our teachers that will offer support and advice and places to go to get additional information. And that's what we do at Canyon Springs High School.
Any questions before this, Mr. Carr?
I just have to say, as as a graduate of the University of Michigan, I'm hearing a little theme there, and I just have to, and also as sort of a graduate after 25 years that I spent at Canyon, it's great to see the successes that are there. So, thank you.
Okay, anyone else? Thank you guys very much. Super job.
Another indicator that's going to be looked at the dashboard, it's the CTE pathways and academies. So we'll start with the mission statement that you can see right there for CTE. It aligns with our strategic plan and also the district's mission statement. In Career Tech Ed, we have continuing the 5 California Partnership Academies. We have the first year for cybersecurity pathway. It's at 2 of our high schools currently, but to be fair and consistent, we're going to start one at Moreno Valley High School. Also, the first year for sports medicine at Valley View. And the first year, which you're going to hear about in a few seconds, manufacturing and logistics technology pathway at March Mountain High School. Here are the 10 different industry sector career technical ed pathways that we offer in our district. One more time, we're going to highlight now the manufacturing, advanced manufacturing and logistics. I want to thank Mr. Albee and his students for staying with us, for being here. So I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Albee. Thank you so much, sir. And the microphone's right there.
No, I think we should do it.
Yeah, thank you, sir.
Good evening.
Evening.
All right, so I can't really stand behind the podium and talk about this stuff because it's actually the coolest thing in the world. Our program, just to clarify for everybody's purpose, because I know that it's so new, is we're training our employees, that's my mindset, our students to basically become industrial technicians. So what does that look like? That is basically going into an automated warehouse, providing them with the skills to either repair, build, fabricate, design, or manufacture whatever parts, components it would require to basically keep an operation running. I came from the logistics world before teaching, so I understand this. I can see that job. I can see the skills that are needed to perform that job, and that's what we're trying to do, is connect this with the real world experience that I have and that we're sharing with these students. One of the interesting experiences I had in this program, since it's new, is seeing how people respond. So here's an example. Here's a project that we work on, and I'll just kind of pass it around and you guys can look at it and have that aha moment. But I also handed out the briefing that goes with that project. So this is an automatic can crusher. It is part of our curriculum. What we have is what we call subject matter experts. Each student is required to have 2 skills or modules that they must complete as part of this project. So teams of 6 basically work together, and I had them a tub of parts and components and say, here's your project, go build. They look at me like, what? How am I supposed to build this? And they give me this look like, oh no, what do we do? So part of it is they work with our curriculum on the computers that does text-to-speech, so it reads it to them. They work on it, they perform little skills, and they go back and they basically have the opportunity to demonstrate that they are growing with their capabilities, but then they go back and learn some more. And what they do is they work with their groups to basically come up with these concepts. And what's cool for me is, if you look, that's 11 pages of different constraints. There's a solution that they have to solve. There's all kinds of different things on part of the preparation of presentation. How they have to give me a shopping list, basically, and a cost factor of, hey, I need you to go buy some 2x4s, plywood, whatever, to take those components and translate it into that completed project. Part of it is there's a Pegasus robot arm that goes with each of these projects that they can mount next to their whatever apparatus is. So each semester we rotate, and each team gets a chance to work with different members, collaborate with each other, take their subject matter expert skills, and go learn new modules the following project. Like I said, this is the coolest thing in the world. I'm gonna let them talk, because I've probably said enough.
You first. Hi, my name is Darlene. I really like that manufacturing program. I have developed skills that I didn't know I had. Last year, I went into the orientation where we were able to walk around into the classroom and see all the actual machines, and we have a virtual welding machine, and I got to play on it multiple times. I actually really like the program because there's a lot of people that say it's more for males instead of females, and I kind of want to change that. I kind of want to go into that career path in the future. It's very interesting.
So why did you want to take the class in the first place?
I wanted to take it because I wanted to make a difference. It's something new for me, and I've never really tried it. So.
Hi, my name is Adia O'Reilly. I'm a senior at Marshmallow High School. I joined this program because I thought it would be like good for me, and like because I like to work with my hands and stuff. So I thought it would be a good, and like I know like with this skills and like what they're teaching me, I'm saying no like a lot.
Yeah, that's all right.
And like,
Keep going.
but
It takes
yeah,
time to drop it.
like I know I can get a job, you know, in like big companies like Boeing and all that with these skills, and like I like to know that and stuff. So.
All right, are there any questions? I know we took a little more than our allotted time. Also, I would like to extend a personal invitation. I know Gary came through my classroom this morning, but if anybody would like to come check out this room, it's the coolest lab in the world. Honestly, I'd be more than happy to let you come through and see the interaction with my students. Come through during a prep period if you want to roll up the sleeves or take your suit coat off or whatever it is. play with the robots, I'd be more than happy to let you guys experience that, exactly what they're experiencing on a daily basis.
Any questions, guys?
I'd definitely like to come and see it. My degree is actually in business management with a focus on supply chain management. So
that's my MBA.
There we go.
Mr. Morgan and the board, just so you know, Mrs. Hunter couldn't be here tonight, but she is planning a visit with the city and the school district, so you will be getting an invitation. She is organizing that right now.
As Mr. Albee said, I visited his classroom today. It was really fun to see all the things that kids were doing, everything from using printers that would manufacture things to cutting out cars to run down a track like the Cub Scouts do. But I was surprised at how anxiously engaged all the kids were in everything that they were doing. It was fun to see their enthusiasm and to combine thinking with your hands. It's a remarkable thing. So I want more female engineers. We'll have better planes, okay? Anyway, it was a great class. I encourage everybody to go see it. I did not go in my suit and tie.
I do have a question.
I was in my tennis clothes.
Oh, you were?
Yeah.
I have a question for the young lady. What field was that again? You said there were no other women? Was it?
In the men.
Yeah, go ahead, go ahead.
I say that there's not many women in the manufacturing field in general, because you don't see many women in that field. Maybe
Okay.
because they're too scared, or maybe because they think it's too hard and it's just like a man job.
There are no man jobs. They're just jobs.
Let me give you a little tip, little motivational tip. There's a lady that I met. She runs one of the largest corporations in America. I'm going to ask you your favorite drink, and you better get it right. So you got to say Pepsi. Now, what is your favorite drink? What's your favorite drink?
Dr. Pepper.
Okay, well, then in that case, you probably will never be Ingrid Noonan. So just so you'll know, she is in charge of PepsiCo, and she's been in charge of them for many years. Now, that's a woman. So when you say that there are a lot of women and you want to get involved, just know that if you join PepsiCo, where she's the boss, she will make sure that you get a good position. And young man, so now what did you want to do too? That's okay. You manufacturing engineer. Manufacturing, let me ask you this then. What's your favorite Lay's potato chip? What's your favorite, I'm sorry, what's your last, what is your favorite potato chips? You better get it right. Okay, Lay's. All right, that's what I thought. Well, just know there are some folks that produce and make the Lay's potato chips. There's some folks that's in charge of that. There's some people that's responsible for production of the best Lay's potato chips that can be sold. That could be your job. So just know the career that you're choosing is a great career. That's all I have for you two guys.
I have. Can I make a comment or a question for the students? What you're planning on graduating from high school? Yes. What comes after that? Right after that?
I would like to go into a manufacturing school,
Okay.
and to further my career or my education.
Okay. What about you? You're going to college.
Yes.
Okay. So what I was trying to show is that two different plans, but still, both of them are graduating from high school, and I think that's the point. Even if you're going to go into manufacturing, into a technical career, still graduating from high school is important. And I think that, what the district is doing in that respect is valuable for all students. They are prepared for whatever they want to do after.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Let me continue by making some announcements of practices, of activities that we will have in place this year that I believe not only affect student achievement, but also help our students get college and career ready. The district-wide college kickoff is October 4th at elementary, middle, and high school. We will be having activities to get our students not only ready for college, but aware of what their college entrance requirements are. So that's going to be happening October 4th. We're really encouraging our students to not just apply to one college, but to apply to 2 or more, because we find that if students do that, obviously it increases their probability of getting in, but it also helps them be more open to different choices. And then one more time, our students did receive $63 million in awards in financial aid scholarships last year, and we will continue to increase. This is very, very important. We're a very unique district because it's important that our students have access to what they need to get into college or wherever they're going to go. So we're going to continue to do the district-wide PSAT testing for all 8th, 10th, and 11th grade students, and also to continue the district-wide SAT for every senior in our district. That's going to be happening in October 11th. Before I turn it over to Dr. Kitsura for closing and remarks, I would like to thank the administrative team here tonight, all the directors. How wonderful. I'm so lucky to work with all of you and all the site people that are here today, and really everyone. I think you can tell that student achievement, to really make an impact, takes a team, it takes a leader, and we're here to do that. So thank you very much.
You're quite welcome. Mr. Card?
We're going to have time for comments in a minute, but I just want, Maribel to, do you want to say something right now?
I did, but you sort of ruining it, so hey.
Okay. We're not done, Harold.
Well, no, I wanted to go back to page 76, but it's sort of like moot now, so it's all right.
We'll go back to page 76,
No,
Maribel. Come back up
no,
here.
No, don't do it. Sorry. No, I just wanted to point out that I think it's really important that we hold the colleges up that way, and I think I really enjoyed where a certain university was, so sorry. And I think it's there in the important place. It also looks like it's Murdo Valley, so I think that's important. And I also enjoyed where the little insignificant red circle was under the G. So I had to point that out as a graduate of the University of Michigan, and I apologize for interrupting your thing, but it was important to me.
Thank you, Harold.
Thank you.
That's a good
Dr.
observation.
Kitsura.
Good observation.
First, I want to say to the board, it's hard for me to sit still over there because, I don't know if you can feel it, but the work that goes on with what happens in the district, we have to be very proud of what happens here. And, when we think about what all that has happened, we have to thank Dr. White. So you can clap for her. Because if I didn't bring her up, somebody would. And I just want to make sure that, I didn't forget her. But I do want you to know that she built something here that is continuing and that we have to be very proud of. And one of the things that we want to say is that, Harold, when you say we have to all want this, but I do say this to the directors and the people in ed services and any division, you have to believe that what you do matters. You have to know why you do it. And so when we encounter children that don't want to graduate, they want to graduate, they just don't know how sometimes. And so, like when they're not here right now, but I wish they would have stayed. But when I was talking to them tonight, they were really nervous. And I said to them, you're the reason why we're here. And so we want to thank the students. We want to thank There's 33,196 at the last count, and every one of them is an individual and matters to us. We want to thank the parents in our community because without them, students, you know, they can't get where they need to be. That they're just an essential piece. We want to thank the classified staff because they have to put kids on buses and feed them, and they have to clean schools, and they have to help them as assistants. And without that, it can't get done. There's a certificated staff that has counselors and teachers that works tirelessly to help kids. You heard about going on Saturdays at different schools. 100 kids from Canyon Springs going on a Saturday. That doesn't happen without people. And I want to thank Ken Wagner, who's new, because his charge is to get 100 from each school, and he's working on that. And then the administration. There's leaders in this district that work every day as leadership. Dr. McNair is here. She represents AMVAMP, and what they're doing at Northridge is cutting edge, and it's changing what our district offers. There was a parent here the other night that we met with, and the parent said, I wish you could be as good as Redlands and Yucaipa. And I said, we are as good, but we're good in different ways. And one of the things we pointed out, and we have to all say this is the narrative we have to say, is we offer dual immersion. You heard that child up here? Redlands and Yucaipa don't offer that. I mean, I can't help it that they don't. But Moreno Valley does. International Baccalaureate, they don't offer that. We do. You know, there's things here that we have to be proud of, that we have to tell the community and continue to share with them, because if we don't, nobody will. And we have to share those stories about what happens here, not other stories that people tell. Because these when you hear that young man is he in 4th grade? I was like, you know, I wish I'd have had that when I was in school. But look what kids are getting here. When you look at what Jeff Alby's done in less than a year, at creating this enthusiasm, this infectious desire to be part of something, that's done through a teacher. So, you know, that's real leadership. There's leaders everywhere. The Board of Education. Mr. Holguin routinely reminds me, he says, what about the board? You know, didn't the board do anything? Well, you do everything. And you're the hidden figures that people don't often know about, that meet in a room up there on Tuesday nights, and you tell people what you want. Individually, you say to me, you know, I want this to happen. And I take you seriously, and I appreciate you, but so does everyone, because what you contribute to a community is amazing. You know, it's just, it cannot be defined. People have no idea. So I want you to know how proud we are of you. Now, as you watch this closing video, and then we're going to come back to you for questions and comments, and I want to thank Maribel Maddox. She did a wonderful job tonight with her team. But as you watch this video, remember that people watch what you do, and they watch what you say. A team watches what you say. They hear things. It takes all of us working together to make this happen. Not one of us, but all of us. And if you see something, you have to help. So I want you to watch this and think about our district, and think about how important it is that we work together to increase our achievement, increase our graduation rate, but to work together. Thank you.
Bring it in, guys. Come on, go, hustle up. Yo, bring it in, y'all. Hustle up. All right, that's it for today. We have a game tomorrow, so get some rest tonight. And remember, ties and jackets tomorrow. Clyde. Mr. Cruz, I'm impressed with what you've done, but you came up short. You owe me 80 suicides and 500 push-ups. Please leave my gym. Thanks, Clyde. Gentlemen, see you tomorrow.
I'll do push-ups for him. You said we're a team. One person struggles and we all struggle. One player triumphs, we all triumph, right?
I'll do some. I'll run suicides too.
I do some too.
Fine. Let's keep count. Call me when they're done.
I have to press the button. You know, I'm an athlete, and I've seen this movie many times. And today we deal with issues and stuff, and when we correlate what happens, we talk as a family. We work together as a family. We call each other siblings. And we know we're going to have those days. But in the 37 years I've been with the district, I can say in the past 5 years, this family has been one. And we've been supported by our parents, and we've been supported by our older siblings, and we've worked together very well to help our children be successful. And I'm proud to be a part of Moreno Valley Unified School District. I went to school here, and now I'm employed here. And on a daily basis, we encounter children that now have been a part of our school district and have come back and been educators, administrators, and support staff. So it's really wonderful to see the growth of our district and how it's blossomed into our community and how it supports our community. It's a special thing that goes on in this community, and I'm proud to be a part of it. And there's a lot of words and a lot of feelings that I can express on a daily basis. We have a lot of wonderful people that work in our district. And we're not always on the same side, you know, but we work it out. We find the fix for our children, and we find the fix for our parents. And right now, that's what we do. We de-escalate, solve, and make them successful. So it's a wonderful environment in Moreno Valley, and it's hard to deal with outside entities coming in and bullying us at our board meetings and intimidating us in a lot of ways. We have answered the call of our community when we created the LCAP and we implemented the professional development, we implemented many administrators, and we developed and restructured our safety and security teams. So all around, we've done everything we could do, and we haven't finished, because every year we will accept a new grade level. We will accept Head Start, we accept our kindergarten. So our work will never be done in the public school. And those that will be here in the future, we leave them a foundation of success. So it's wonderful. And I sit here and I enjoy everything that goes on. And to see our children and to see a student stand there and speak both languages and how he speaks. Our children come in and they talk about the CTE classes, they talk about the education, I'm going to college. You can't really say anything negative because we strive for the fix and the success of our students. So to the board and the past board, to our superintendents and the team that I work with on a daily basis, from the management to the certificated, thank you. I enjoy it. It's been wonderful. We do more laughing than we do anything, which is some of the most healthiest thing we can do. So thank you.
I just want to say that just sitting here, I'm definitely a proud employee and a proud parent. I've lived in Moreno Valley since 1987, and I am a proud product of Moreno Valley High School. And so from graduating from Moreno Valley High School to coming back to being the principal of Northridge, where I was a student the second year it was open, it has been just an amazing journey. And now being a parent of a student at Valley View that is taking 4 AP classes and benefiting from a variety of the programs, from the African American Abbott class to the mock trial team who won 7th in the county, to my other son and daughter over at Palm Middle School, where my daughter was able to experience her first speech and debate scramble this weekend, where she placed in the top 20. And so just those opportunities that are available to our students are just invaluable. And it just makes me proud to raise my kids in this community. So thank you so much. And on behalf of all the administrators here, we appreciate the support. Thank you.
You know, I was reflecting on the history here in Moreno Valley, and in our office, we actually have some folding chairs, and there's some very old folding chairs. And they say Midland School District on them. And they're from when this school district was an elementary school district. And I'm reflecting on the fact that in 1957, the teachers and administrators at the time got together and formed something called the Midland Teachers Association. And so we're now in our 60th year. This is our anniversary year for MVEA. And I wonder what they would think about all the things, all the changes and all the things that we're doing for students, those teachers that were at one school back in 1957. And I think they would reflect on that, and I think they would be excited about this, the place that this has become here in Moreno Valley. And not just a city, but also a community of educators working along with the community. And it's exciting to me. I think one thing that's really exciting is when you see champion equity. Our city has really changed since 1957. There's lots of challenges, but there's a lot of wonderful things that are happening. And we're very excited as Moreno Valley Educators Association that championing equity is our big theme for this year, and that it's always excellence on purpose. We're being held to a standard that we had all strive for, and it's been nice the last 5 years that people are speaking about that standard and saying things about that explicitly. I just want to share that we got 2 exciting pieces of news. One of our former presidents, Catherine Underwood, has been honored by the NAACP as a labor individual. There's going to be a ceremony in October, on October 26th. And the Moreno Valley Educators Association has been honored for the work that we've done, but it's work that we would not have been able to do if we had not partnered with the district and with professional development and others to do our unconscious bias and the other things that we've been doing to be in and of this community and to be there for every single one of our students and to make sure that we're challenging ourselves to be the best that we can be and do right by those kids that are our babies too, no matter what people may think, from pre-K all the way through the 12th grade. We're here for them, and we're here to see them succeed. Thank you.
I think we had a very good presentation tonight. It was very informative. We had a lot of stats that went on there that that were good to see. You know, we as I mentioned before, we do have some residents that come in and question a lot of our math and our science grades and our testings. And, you know, I'm thankful for people that point out flaws because, you know, you always need that. You always need someone there Because if you don't have someone there, then you can kind of rest on your laurels. You know, you need those people that are going to motivate you to do better. But at the same time, it's good to show them the progress that we're making. And that's what I'm thankful for tonight with these slides. We're not coming in here and just going, brushing over math, and then there's math, and let's go on to English, and we're doing great in English. It's showing that year after year we're making those improvements. You know, we all know where we have to improve. We all know what we have to do, and education is a learning progress in itself. You know, you have to find the ways, and kids are always evolving, and there's always new ways to reach out to them, and then sometimes ways that were working no longer work, and you have to find another way. And so it's always a constant progress and the constant battle and struggle. And but what people can take away from our community is that this district, our teachers, everybody that works for this district is committed to continuing that struggle and that progress of trying to find the best way we possibly can to try to reach every student. So there's still a lot of work to be done. Like I said, there's still a lot of work to be done, but we're doing a lot. We're closing that achievement gap, and we're not doing it by lowering one person or one group of people to raise everybody up. We're just raising everybody up. And when you only go up to 100%, and you have some people that are at 60, and some people that are at 70, and some people that are at 80, if you raise everybody closer to 100, then that gap's going to automatically start closing. You don't need to lower someone from 80 back down to 70 so that then that way it's automatically closed. So I think that some people in the community need to understand that this is always going to be a work in progress, and that we're always going to continue to move forward as much as we can to try to find the best ways possible to teach our kids. And that's the real exciting thing, is that we're not just sitting here resting on our laurels or trying to praise the things that we're the best at. We're here showing our progress on the things that we've struggled at, and we're proud of the progress we're making, and we're proud of all the things that we are the best at as well. I don't know too many other districts that have as many Golden Bell Awards in a row that we had, but we're doing our best to continue finding those ways, and that's what I'm excited about. I always like being part of a work in progress and being hands-on, and I feel like our district is really striving to do that. They might feel like our test scores aren't there yet in certain level areas, or our graduation rate's not as high as they want us to be, and that's fine. They can have those critiques, but you can't knock the effort and it's not just even an effort. It's how much heart everybody in this district puts into that effort. It's not like, well, I tried. They are hustling, and we are doing everything. And it's not just, it's a passion. I see so much passion at this district for all the heart that people put into trying to make their kids' lives better, when a lot of those parents don't show up. And I know the parents that show up to these meetings, they have that concern for their child, and they have that care in their heart. But, no one is caring for their child day in and day out like our teachers are, and our staff is, and our district is, as much as they are. As much as the parents are, we're there all the time. And I'm including myself, and I'm not here that much as much as you guys all are. But, and that's what this just shows me, and this is what this is telling me. And it's sad that we don't have a whole lot of people here from the community to be seeing this. So I'm sure it's already going to happen, but let's get these slides up on our website. Let's share a lot of this information on our Facebook page and our social media, and let's brag about this more to everybody. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Mr. Hogan?
Yes, first of all, I'd like to say thank you. Thank you for the presentation. Thank you, Dr. Kinsera, for bringing together the team, and Maribel and everybody who spoke here this evening, and of course, including the students and the parents for bringing the students and to share their thinking, their stories, and their second language. I think it's an excellent presentation. I'm very excited to see I counted 25 slides of reasons why we should be proud of this district, and there's a lot more in the numbers. And this shows the work of all the people working in the district, all the employees, all the certificated, all the classified, all the management team. And it shows also the leadership. I think Dr. Katsura works really hard to put things together and to make things happen and to maintain communication with everyone, not only within the school district, but also with the community. And he's talking to parents, talking to students, and talking to community members within the city and outside. I mean, I know he maintains conversations with many other members of other communities around the county and the state. So all that together is what makes things happen. The entire team and everybody putting their effort, putting their time and their dedication. And I think that's something that it is important that we, like we mentioned earlier, we need to keep in mind that we all need to be committed in different roles and different ways, but we all need to be committed to continue making this happen. And at the same time, I think it is important that we go out to the community or whatever we are, that we share that information with other people. People are not here to listen to these presentations, and it's a good idea to share it on the web. I believe that every time we have an opportunity to talk to people within the community, to let them know, this is what's happening, this is what is in existence, these are the programs that are being in the schools and different schools, and these are the way the students are benefiting, and these are the ways students are being prepared. Our students, the students go through the system only once, and we have to make sure that we take advantage of that once to make sure that they have an opportunity to be successful. And if we all continue doing the best we can to serve that student in the ways that they need, the ways that they deserve, the ways that they have to receive so that they can be successful. Whether it is a dual immersion program, whether it is an academy, or whatever it is, every student has different needs and different ways of learning, different ways of growing up, and that collaboration between the district and the families and the community, I think, is critical. Communication and continuous partnership, continuous talking about the success stories of the district, and those negatives that come up all the time by small group of people is because they don't know. They just don't know what is happening. They're not familiar with the system. They don't understand how it works, and they will continue criticizing so long as they don't understand how the system works. All in this room truly, firmly understand how the system works, and that's why we are part of the system, and that's why we're proud to be part of the system, because we understand and we all make it work. So we just have to continue proudly saying to everyone out there, this is what is happening, and this is how it's happening, and it is effective, and the numbers show. And just as an example, champion equity, and taking that as a topic, as a theme for the year for the school district, I think is remarkable. And it's not only saying it, showing it there, but demonstrating it. 2017, the first year, Moreno Valley Unified School District was not found to be disproportionate with African American students. And I think that's just an example of how the district is truly taking care of the needs of the students and really looking at the needs and making sure those needs are fulfilled. The students that cannot, for some reason, cannot graduate, the students that need additional support, and the district is providing that support. And that's to the students, but also we have people receiving professional development during the school year. And I think what is most remarkable is getting those professional development opportunities during the summer when they're not in session, when they're not working. And I saw it this summer. a lot of teachers, a lot of people attending professional development sessions during the summer and weekends. And I don't think that happens everywhere. I don't think many districts, as I was with one of those groups, and I was saying that particular weekend, Labor Day weekend, a group of educators together getting professional development. I don't think that was happening anywhere else in the state of California. So that is something that is unique to this district, as many, many other things as we saw this evening. And you know, I'm just proud to be part of this group, regardless of the capacity. I'm proud to be part of this team because this district continues moving up, moving forward, and fulfilling the dreams of the students and fulfilling the dreams of the parents that they want their children to be successful academically, and whatever they do at home or whatever circumstances they have at home, when the children come to our classrooms, we have the team in place that make them feel welcome, make them feel important, and it's going to help in that personal development, academic development. So I'm proud to be part of the team. Dr. Quetzera mentioned earlier that I continuously remind him, what about the board? I think he's right. I remind him every time, what about the board? Is the board doing something? But there's a couple of reasons I do that. And I say, well, the board is part of the team too. We want to be part of the team. But at the same time, it is important to understand that whatever he's doing, he has the support of the board. And I think that's critical. If the superintendent does not have the support of the board, as in many districts I've seen, the whole organization collapses easily. So providing that support is critical. And I think because of the work that he has done and because of the what he has demonstrated over the years, not just this year, but the last 6 years, 7 years, I think he has earned that trust from the board and that support. And that's what I want to remind him, that we support him 100%, at least my part. You know, don't want to speak for my colleagues, but I support him 100% for everything he does. But I think that's critical to make it known that he has that support. And so we're moving in the right direction. I appreciate the work of everyone. I appreciate keeping in mind every single student, because every single student is important. They deserve it. They deserve be treated as a human being with dignity, with respect. The moment they get on the bus, the moment they come to the school. And if we continue doing that, we'll continue seeing the numbers going up and the success stories popping up everywhere in the school district. Thank you.
I think we all appreciate Dr. Quetzera. Thank you. I'm going to speak for everyone. You have the appreciation of all of us. So thank you, and thank you to the everyone who came tonight. We really appreciate your involvement and the things that you're doing for our students and the way you're helping them to grow. Terrific presentation, all these numbers and statistics. It's just great to see growth in so many areas for our students, and growth for our students means growth for our community. So I'm happy to see that, because the more educated our community is, our students are, the better our community is, because we are moving toward a more educated population, and that should always be our goal. We have so many areas that we're growing in: high school graduation, achievement levels at all grade levels. I was especially impressed with when we looked at reclassification, that so many students who are at the beginner level moved up. A lot of times people focus on moving up students that are close to being proficient, or close to, you know, I used to, where I worked when I was a teacher, sometimes they would say, let's try and move those students that are just a little bit below up and have them achieve and get them to that point, because then we're going to have more students who are successful. If we work with those that are, what did they used to say, far below basic, it's going to be harder to get them up. But I think what we see in these numbers is every number represents a student. If we have 90% of our students graduating from high school, 10% that did not graduate, what are those students going to do? What kind of a life are they going to have? What kind of a career are they going to have? Where do they go for their next step? So I think we need to always keep in mind that every single number represents students and represents some of our students here in Moreno Valley, and they're all important. And I liked going to the summer graduation and seeing students that hadn't graduated in the spring that had come back, taken that 1 or 2 classes that they needed, and were then graduating and getting that high school diploma and moving ahead. So for me, every single student in our district is important. I don't want to see any of them falling through the cracks and saying, well, sorry, you just didn't make it. You know, let's do what we can for every single student. And I think we have that focus in our district, and I think every single staff member in our district has that focus. So I'm happy to see that, and it's been a great job tonight, and I'm glad that I could be here.
Mr. Ball, thank you.
One of the things that impressed me about the presentation tonight is the idea of working together. Whether it's with the student projects or with the teachers and learning a new system, with the cooperation between the unions and the administration, it is very important to be collaborative. And one of the things that I wanted to talk about for a minute or two was our career technical education. We haven't said that much about it. We had a little presentation on it, but I last week went to the automotive classes over at Valley View High School, and then today I went to the carpentry class at Bridges and the logistics class over at March Mountain. I think they provide a great service to it, and I don't think it diminishes at all our effort to have high school graduation and be focusing on colleges and having people apply for 2 different colleges. It doesn't detract from that at all. Just as the young girl spoke about, she wants to go to a technical school and then take that knowledge and go into a university to become an engineer. I think so many times we think we get stereotyped. I'm just an academic, just let me read Shakespeare and I'm happy. But there's a lot more to life than Shakespeare. And you know, I had to pay somebody to come and fix my sprinkling system because I'm an idiot and can't do it. You know, it's important that we have all kinds of skills and we develop them as best we can. I think it's also exciting to see kids interested in schools, that we have more extracurricular activities, more sports teams, more art classes, other things. My granddaughter's so excited over at Northridge that she's going to get to go to the art program in the next iteration that they have it. You know, it's important that we not educate too narrowly, especially with young minds. I want to commend also the teachers, the 600 plus teachers that went to professional development during the summer. What that does for you is give a little bit of income to them for the summer, but also saves the district money because you're not having to pay for a substitute. And the final analysis is the best teacher for those students to have is their teacher, not a substitute. And if they go to professional development during the summers, it's important for FaceTime with a teacher with their class. I applaud the efforts of working together to, you know, I wish we could Hidden Springs. We need more like that. But it's important that we work together and we set a goal that can be achieved, and that we not table people aside. This person is a loser and therefore they're going to go to jail, and that's not the attitude we have. Every student is important and every student has something to offer to civilization. And I hope that we will, as a district, each one of us concentrate on helping that person that sometimes would throw away. We have no throwaway kids. We have great kids with great potential. And so I was excited to look at some career education today. And but I want to commit for the efforts that they make to collaborate and cooperate, and we become better for it. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Thank you. Now, I think I'm going to start right there with the association. That many school districts, but I've been to a few, and when we have conversations, sometimes it gives them something's going on between the associations and the board of the school district or something like that. We have nothing but great people. You guys are great assets. Keep you in check. You give us ideas, we give you ideas. Sometimes we don't like the ideas that's given, but we stop and think about it. No, we stop and think about it, and then we compromise and stay in the corner and say we hate these people and stuff like that. So I want you to know that, and I'll mention Mr. Hogan because he and I go to some of the places he goes to. I don't go everywhere, but we've been to some places how people don't like I heard someone say the other day, if my superintendent did this, I'm thinking, gee whiz. It's almost like you're talking about if that was your pet or something. But anyway, neither here nor there. The reason I mention those kinds of things because those are kinds of things that you hear out there, but we are privileged to be able to work with a team of people that we respect and they respect us as well. I'm going to mention something that it was touched on just a little bit. Sometimes we don't talk about it, but I think if Dr. Ketchior and Dr. White and the staff have enough guts, if you will, to work on this area that we need some help in, and don't mind making sure that you know I'm working on it, and don't mind you knowing that I'm improving on it, then I don't mind saying how much I appreciate what I saw tonight of the African American students. I think more should be said because the more we say, the more what we're doing is encouraging them. I don't know the reasons. I wish I did. I really don't know the reasons. I know I'm an African American, but I can't say why. I don't know this. But what I do know is when you look at the numbers, the African American students are on the bottom. But what Dr. Ketchior and Dr. White, and I mentioned just two names, more than just two, but they took a look at those numbers and they said, you know what, we need to change that. And one of the things I'll never forget, Dr. Ketchior, I had been to Moreno Valley High, and it's more than one high school, but I'm mentioning Moreno Valley High, but we needed to do something about AVID. Here's a diamond in the rough, and we were not taking advantage of it. We had some African-American students, for whatever the reason, they said, I don't want to get involved in AVID. They said, yes, you will. Here's what we're going to do for you. We're going to start an all African-American AVID class. Now, most of us already know this. But the point I'm trying to make is you're talking about you have some educators that's doing more than just, making sure everything goes along fine. They saw a problem and they said, hey, look, this is a problem that most people have, so we can just let it go, no problem. But they said, no, we're not going to let that go. We're going to do something about it. Then when they saw that the kids tried to outsmart them by saying, okay, if you have an all African-American boys, then I'm a girl, I want to join. And then we had some kids drop out. So they said, let's start in the lower grades. Because if we can get them then they won't have this peer pressure. And they'll go out and be able to produce and join, and they'll be benefiting from it. So when you look at folks like that, I think it's worth mentioning, it's worth us talking about that, because they could be like most people. I see it, I care, but I have a lot on my plate, there's a lot to do. If the parents, help us, we'll do this and we'll do this. But no, what they said was, we're going to make sure we do everything we can to support every student, not just certain students, but every student. And so when they put those numbers up there like they did tonight, yes, we applaud, we're happy, but I want Dr. K, and everybody else, and I'm not going to call everybody's name again, like I said, don't get me in trouble. But I want you to know how proud I am. And I really think that we should talk about it more, because there's still some convincing out there. We need to talk to some other people and let them know what we're doing here. Some folks know it, but a lot of people don't know it. And I think and you know what? And as other districts find out that it's okay to be bold with it, I guarantee you they're going to catch on and they're going to say, hey, look, I may as well just come out myself. Because I know if you're an educator, you want to make sure all of your students do well. Unfortunately, maybe they don't. I don't know. That's not my business. But what I'm talking about right now, I know what's happening here in Moreno Valley. So I'm very proud of the work that you guys do, and continue that, and make sure that you get the other folks around our state involved as well. Attendance, you know, if I don't feel like going to school today, and I like, you know, my mama, she'll let me do whatever I want. I say, Mama, I don't feel like going. She'll let me stay probably. But if you looked at the numbers that they showed on attendance, I mean, kids are coming to school. Not just little kids, but the high school kids are too. Isn't that right? They're coming to school. There's something here that they like. I think one of the things too, it's like a challenge. If your buddy is going to class, why would you miss? We saw the example with the basketball team. They would not let their teammate, you know, do all these things by themselves. And they said, hey, look, we're going to join in. And I would imagine that's the same thing, same type of attitude they take, you know, as far as coming to school. Why are you missing? Well, I just don't feel like going today. But they flip that because now their friends are going, so I've got to show up. I got to see what's going on. So thank you guys for working on that, and thank you for improving it and doing as much as you can to make it even better. And the English language learners, I will tell you, I've been to a few of the functions with Ms. Maddox and other folks. I've never seen, I've never seen so many kids who were so happy to receive a handshake and an award because they've accomplished something. And then the parents in the stands, it's almost like, well, I'm not going to use the football analogy because we don't even go to football games. But I will tell you, when you go to the gym, it is packed. Isn't that right, Mrs. Maddox? It's packed, right? Packed. There are folks in there because their kids have reached a goal, and now they're speaking English well, and those kids then teach the parents. But it all happens in our district and with your leadership and you guys and the hard work that you guys do. So, you know, thanks for that as well. I think I'm gonna, since we've already said quite a bit tonight, I'm gonna let that be the last. Oh, one last thing. I wrote down Mr. Borney and the student. I'm sure that the day I visited him and he and I in the office talking, and his kid was waiting to see him, you know. So like I stuck my fingers in my ears and I closed my eyes because I didn't want to see what they were doing, and I didn't want to hear what they were saying. But I know anytime you go to a principal's office, it's not because you just want to say hello. So, but I liked the way Mr. Barney treated that young student that came into his office for whatever that reason was. Again, I really didn't pay attention because that wasn't my business, but I saw what was going on, and I saw when that student left and how he felt. And so when we were out in the courtyard, and all these kids came out and, you know, wanted to see what was going on, and I was wondering, what's going on myself? There's just two of us walking, so why do we have all these kids? But that young boy was one of the kids. Had it been me and I was in the office with the principal, you wouldn't have seen me in that group. I would have been somewhere else. But something must have happened in that office. Again, I was there. I didn't pay that much attention, but something must have happened. Somehow Mr. Barney touched him. And naturally, when they asked for a business card, I gave him one. And the next thing I know, the kid is texting me, telling me thank you. The reason I mention that is because all of the principals, all of you guys at schools, you make those kinds of impressions on children. There's a lot of different ways that you can discipline them. I'm sure you already know all of them. There's some you got to be a little sterner with others, but I think they learn a lot once they come in there. I told you, when I was a kid, I always made it my point not to ever go. But I think when the kids go, they learn something from you, and I think that's a special talent that you all have, and I do want to commend you and congratulate you for it. And I think that's probably why our attendance rates are up, because kids, they like their principal and they respect their principal, and they'll do whatever the principal asks them to do. And if the principal said, hey, you missed a couple of days, what happened? They don't want to lie. They know they just didn't want to come. But once you start showing that you care and you're paying attention, and I think that helps, and pretty soon it gets around that the principal cares about all of the students. So thank you guys for everything. Thank you for the staff that you've assembled. And that's all I have, sir. It's on you.
I just want to thank the board, and I want to thank everyone that's here, because without you, this doesn't happen. So thank you for everything. And Mrs. Maddox, thank you and your team for a wonderful evening and for sharing with us the work we need to do, but the celebration of the work that we have done. So thank you very much.
That's a wrap, then. It's
Should I say more?
No, that's not.
Mr. Holgain's looking at me like I should have said
So
something.
the meeting's adjourned at 7:50, right? Thank you all for coming. And while you're walking out, let me just mention this. Take a look at who's in the room. So when you come to the meetings on Tuesday night and the people come to the mic to speak, and they're talking about what we don't do and all these other bad things, take it with a grain of salt, because they're not here tonight to hear all the great things what we're doing.